My name is Carolyn. Standing on my porch, looking at my parents crying in the dark, I'm reminded of a time when I was the one they dismissed. It's been 5 months since that fateful night, and now, they're the ones in despair, calling me every night, saying they need me more than ever. But let me take you back to how it all began. I come from a well-to-do family in a small, tight-knit town. My father, Henry, is a well-known contractor who runs a successful construction business, Mason & Sons. My mother, Linda, is a socialite who thrives on the family's public image. And my younger brother, Ethan, is the golden child, always in the spotlight. For 2 years, while I worked remotely as a digital marketing strategist for a mid-sized tech firm, I also found myself handling the behind-the-scenes operations of my father's business. I was the one who streamlined the project management process, negotiated better deals with suppliers, and made sure the company's online presence was top-notch. Despite all my efforts, my work was invisible to my family. My father only valued the physical labor on the construction sites. He thought that sitting in front of a computer all day was a waste of time. He'd often say, "Real work is done with your hands, not with a keyboard." My mother, on the other hand, was more concerned with how the family looked in the eyes of the community. She always painted Ethan as the ambitious and hard-working one, while I was the flaky daughter who couldn't hold down a job. One day, my company lost a major client and had to lay off half of the staff, including me. When I told my family the news, their reactions were heartbreaking. My father leaned back in his leather chair, sipping on his whiskey, and laughed. "I always knew you were all talk and no action," he sneered. My mother just continued to arrange the flowers for the party they were planning for Ethan, who had landed an unpaid internship at a high-end architecture firm. It was the kind of internship that my parents boasted about to their friends, as if it were a ticket to the elite club. I asked if I could at least attend the backyard dinner. My mother gave me a look of disgust. "So you can ruin the mood and remind everyone of your failure?" "No, thank you." Ethan chimed in, "I earned this." "You've only earned pity and shame." I held back my tears. I knew that showing emotion would only make them feel more powerful. I simply smiled and said, "You will regret this celebration one day." The day of the party, the backyard was transformed into a glamorous event space. There were fairy lights, elegant tables, and a live band. Guests started arriving, including friends from the country club, long-term clients, and my mother's bridge club friends. I was starving, so I decided to go downstairs and grab a quick snack from the kitchen. As soon as I reached for a plate, my father stepped into the doorway. "Not so fast. We don't want your mood ruining the party," he said. A few guests in the hallway turned to look. I explained that I was just hungry, but my mother appeared beside him with a fake smile. "This is a celebration, not a pity party," she hissed. Ethan followed, holding a drink. "If you go out there looking like that, everyone will wonder what a failure you are," he mocked. Some guests nervously laughed. I asked my father if he was really kicking me out of the party in my own house. He shrugged and said, "Then stop being useless and do something productive." At that moment, I felt a strange sense of calm. I realized that they were never going to appreciate me, no matter what I did. I said, "You've insulted me so precisely that my grief has become arithmetic." My mother crossed her arms and accused me of being selfish, saying that Ethan finally had a chance to shine, and I was just jealous. Ethan smirked and repeated, "You've earned nothing but shame." That was the last straw. I smiled and told them, "You'll regret this," then walked out through the side gate and sat in my car. From there, I could hear the laughter and the toasts, celebrating Ethan's success. I opened the Notes app on my phone and started listing everything I had done for the family business. By midnight, I had 73 items. By 2 a.m., it was 91. At 3:20 a.m., I wrote at the top of the note, "They don't miss me. They outsource themselves through me." The next morning, I packed my bags and left. My mother asked if it was another stunt, and my father shouted that I'd be back as soon as I realized the real world was tough. I told them I was finally going to do something useful and walked out. I rented a small apartment above a local bookstore. The owner, Mrs. Thompson, was a kind-hearted woman. When I told her about my work, she said, "So, you're the one who makes messy businesses run smoothly." It was the first time in a long time that someone had recognized my value. I spent my days applying for jobs and freelancing. One of my former clients, Ryan, remembered me for fixing a major digital campaign disaster in just 2 days without any fanfare. He hired me for a project and then referred me to other clients. Slowly, I was getting back on my feet. Meanwhile, the calls from home started coming. At first, it was just practical questions. My mother texted asking where the updated project files were. My father called, complaining that a client was asking for a revised blueprint and he couldn't find the right filing system. Ethan sent a message asking for the login details for the company's cloud storage. They never once asked how I was doing. As the weeks passed, small problems started piling up at my father's business. He missed a permit deadline for a large-scale project, which led to a hefty fine. My mother sent an incorrect invoice to a major client, causing a rift in the business relationship. Ethan double-booked a site visit, which made the company look unprofessional. The real blow came when they lost the Johnson account. The Johnsons were a wealthy family in town, and their project was a showcase for Mason and Sons. I had built a strong relationship with them from scratch. I remembered every detail of their preferences, from the type of wood they wanted for the flooring to the color scheme of the interior. But my family, in their arrogance, thought they could handle it without me. They made a series of mistakes. They used the wrong type of materials, ignored the Johnsons' design suggestions, and missed several important deadlines. The Johnsons were furious and terminated the contract. This was a huge blow to the company's reputation, and many other potential clients started to back off. That's when the calls from my family turned desperate. My mother left voicemails sobbing, saying that my father was under a lot of stress and that I needed to come back. Ethan sent panicked messages, asking me for advice on how to salvage the situation. Then, my mother invited me to dinner at my favorite Italian restaurant. I went, not because I missed them, but because I wanted to see if there was any real remorse. When I arrived, my father looked older and more haggard. Ethan was fidgety and on his phone. My father got straight to the point. "We need access to the systems you built," he demanded. I looked at him and said, "You invited me here for passwords?" My mother tried to smooth things over, saying that they all said things they regretted and that everyone was emotional. I asked her what exactly she regretted. Calling me a failure? Letting the guests laugh at me? Telling people I was unreliable? She went silent. Ethan jumped in, saying that they were under pressure and that I should help if I had any loyalty. I looked at him and asked, "If I came here tonight, broke and unemployed, and couldn't help you, would any of you still be sitting at this table?" No one answered. My father muttered that I was being too personal. I leaned forward and said, "It became personal when you laughed at me. It became permanent when you made me the family joke." Then I stood up, paid for my drink, and left. A few days later, I received an offer from a rival construction company, Cedar Construction. They wanted me to be their director of client relations and brand management. I accepted, and my name was publicly announced on their relaunch materials. I also helped Cedar Construction secure a major partnership with the local homeowners association, the same association that my father's company had once worked with. The news spread like wildfire in town. One evening, there was a knock on my door. It was my parents and Ethan. My mother was crying, and my father looked defeated. Ethan sat in the car, avoiding eye contact. My mother reached for me, but I stepped back. My father cleared his throat and said, "We need you." I asked them, "When I lost my job, what did you think would happen to me if you pushed me out?" They were silent. I continued, did you think I'd break? Or did you think I'd just come crawling back? Ethan got out of the car, angry. They're trying, he said. I looked at him and replied, you laughed when I was humiliated. You called me shameful. Don't talk to me about trying. My father then apologized. He said he had been angry at the world, at the changing business landscape, and that I had become the target of his frustration. I believed him, but the pain was still there. He asked if I could at least consult for a few weeks to save the business. I thought about it for a moment. I looked at them standing on my porch, and I realized that they were finally seeing my worth. But I also knew that I had built a life for myself. I calmly said no. They stayed on the porch for a while, as if hoping I'd change my mind. Then they left. In the following weeks, the calls continued, but they gradually changed from desperate pleas to more emotional messages. My mother left a voicemail saying that the house didn't feel the same without me. My father sent a text admitting that he had been too hard on me. Months later, I ran into my mother at the grocery store. She looked tired and thinner. She asked if I was happy. I said I was peaceful. She told me that the business had survived but was much smaller. My father had sold some equipment and taken on a partner to improve operations. Ethan had taken a job at a different firm. She asked if I thought there would ever be a way back into the family. I told her that some doors don't reopen easily. They reopen when the people on the other side have truly changed. She cried a little, and I felt a pang of sadness. But I knew that I had learned a valuable lesson. Need is not the same as love, and I was finally free to live my own life.